Okay, welcome everybody to Cigar Lounge. I hope you guys are doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. Today's topic, butterflies for old people, or if anybody is around the age of 40, butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. All right. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm not drunk, but I am high on life. So, quick question. How many people have traded old man butterflies? And what I'm considering an old man butterfly is greater than 2 weeks out. Has anyone traded an old person butterfly? Steven says yes. This one's going to be interactive, so you got to type today. Sweet. So, how'd that go for you? How'd that work out? Do you still trade butterflies 2 weeks out? That's what I cut my teeth on. I cut my teeth on butterflies. But the thing about butterflies is Bork and wing indeed, Sam Hawkins. Bork and wing indeed. I imagine you meant broken wing, but I'm going to 100% name one of these trades Bork and wing before the day's over. So, that's a great picture, by the way. So, cut my teeth on butterflies, long-dated butterflies. But one of the things about butterflies that I have found difficult through the years is that in some ways, it's the most unmechanical trade there is. And I'll explain why I think that's the case. I was talking to, some of you guys remember Dan Sheridan, the legend. He lives in my town. We got breakfast this morning, and I was telling him, I said, Mr. Sheridan, I'm doing a cigar lounge this afternoon on butterflies, and I'm calling it Butterflies for Old People. And, he has been teaching options since some of us were born, some of the younger people. So he knows everything there is to know about options. And he knows our community too. And he said, well, most of you guys do 0 day, right? I said, yeah, a lot of people do 0 day. 0 day is very popular. I said, so if you're doing a butterfly and you're going to do it mechanically, and he said, well, I knew he was going to say this. He said, I don't do them mechanically. I said, that's okay. Because Option Omega is an idea generator. It's not meant to just be followed religiously. Because Option Omega is not a religion. It's just a backtester. I said, what do you think? What's the duration that you would kind of advocate for if you were going to do a mechanical trade? And he looked at me and he said, so they're doing 0 day mostly, right? I said, probably if we took a poll, most people are doing a lot of 0 day stuff. He said, I would not go out farther than 15 days because 0 day traders are gamblers. They like the thrill of the hunt, and going farther out than 15 days would be like taking someone from a casino and putting them in a prison. Like a 45-day butterfly for a 0 day trader is like, you might as well just retire at this point. Like you're not going to ever trade this. So he said, I wouldn't go farther out than 15, which I agree with. He also used the analogy, which I think is funny. He basically said, it's like taking people's crack cocaine away from them and handing them a cup of decaf coffee. That's what long-term butterflies are. So, I don't know how you feel about decaf coffee or crack cocaine, but here we are. So, with that being said, we are going to look at a couple different butterflies today, and I think I've given all the caveats, but one more caveat I'll give is that these trades are very rough. These are not these polished trades that we've seen before where it's like, oh, I'm going to just take this and apply this. Because, as Matt always tells us, options involve risks and are not suitable for all investors. Backtesting is backward-looking. It's not forward-looking. Anything today said amongst us is entertainment purposes, not financial advice. As always, talk to your financial advisor before constructing options trades. So, with that being said, the other reason, besides all that stuff, is this really is meant to just be an idea generator. It's meant to be, maybe if you want to try to look at some farther dated out stuff, maybe you're getting burnt on 0 day and you want to take a break, maybe you want to do both. Here's some ideas. So, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it. It says it's loading. There it is. Can you see it? Wait. Okay. So, side note, most people throw away their cigars when they get like 2 inches left. But this is the section I like to call my little angel. We ride these to the end. We don't take profit on cigars. We ride them to expiration. So, anywho, with that being said, let's go through the tests. So, you guys can see my screen. I'll make it a little bit wider. I have a couple of old man butterflies here I want to go through. And one more question just for everybody. How when you've traded butterflies, like what's the longest butterfly you've ever traded? Anybody got any? One day. Has anyone traded over 45 days before? 30 days? Okay. I tried 120 day butterfly one time, and I took it off like 3 days later for like a small loss because I was like, nope, that's not my thing. All of these are going to be longer than what we're used to, but shorter than the classic 45 day. And I'm starting these at 2018. These are run 2018 to this week because something weird happened in 2018 that, at least my opinion is, completely screwed up the old man butterfly market. Does anybody know what old man butterfly market? Any guesses? Matt can't answer it. No, you know it. I see Matt typing. Okay. Any other guesses? Sorry, Matt. Let Matt down real fast. No. That's a good guess, Courtney. That's a good guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a little thing we call in the options community that happened 2018, Volmagaeddon. Were you guys trading at Volmagaeddon? So Volmagaeddon was, I believe, it was a Monday. And what happened is VIX intraday rose 100%. I don't think it actually had ever done that before, even during the flash crash. In one day, rose 100%. There are a lot of inverse vol funds that actually went broke that day because it was like there was like 3x leverage inverse vol funds. Well, if vol goes up 100% and you're inverse 300%, guess what? You're out of business now. And my theory is, this is Troy talking again. Financial advice is not. This is just entertainment purposes. My theory is that really 2018 was the precursor to 2020 that set up the crash, because what happened was the vol structure got so people were selling VIX down to like 8 handle, 9 handle. I think it might have got to like 7 at some point. And VIX was just super, super, super suppressed. And what happened is that it was so suppressed that when the day came that people were no longer selling vol, it just exploded. What does that have to do with butterflies? If you look at a market between 2018 to 2023, it's exponentially moving. It's moving at a pace that it has never moved before, right? Now, I'm not talking about crashes and things like that in one day, like the 87 crash. But as a general rule, since 2018, SPX has started moving exponentially per day. The ranges have gotten greater and greater per day. Now, this helps zero-day traders. It helps shorter-term traders. But what it does not help is old man butterflies. So I wanted to start in 2018 to show you that, A, it's hard. There's a reason, people don't do them like they used to do them. It is definitely a different environment than it was 5 years ago. But 2, I wanted to show that there are things that work if you want to be an old person and trade butterflies. So with that, I'm done talking. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through them one at a time here. So first off, we're going to go a 50 wide butterfly. Can you guys all see this? Sweet. I'm going to make it full screen just so I can focus. So first off, smooth little curve, right? Not bad through time. I like those little curves like that. A low drawdown, a very low MAR ratio. This is not something where you're just going rich. And why would you not want to just get rich real quick? Again, this is just a trade that does well over time. We're not looking to break the bank. We're old people now. We have some wisdom under our belts. And we're not trying to retire. We retire from our riches. We're trying to not lose all our retirement. Think of it that way. So what we're doing is we're going to sell an at the money 15-day out call, and we're going to buy 100 points under it and 100 points above it. I said this is 50 wide, but it's not 50 wide. In fact, this is what I'm going to call. This is the Borkenwing. Let me go ahead and share this before I forget. Okay, so it's 100 wide, and we're putting it on at 10:30. Again, straight away, you notice the difference in this and zero day is that we're not starting first thing in the morning. We're kind of letting the market settle before we put these on. We want it to be nice and steady. And, for the day to find its range, as if that's happened since 2018. But in general, that's how you do it. We're going to just do it daily, right? Every day there's a 15-day condor, or roundabout. And we're allocating 5% of our portfolio. And we're allocating 5% because this is a pretty set, safe trade, not financial advice, entertainment purposes when I say safe trade. 2 exit conditions. We've got a profit target of 10%. We're just taking 10% off these things. Just going down to the water every day, just scooping. We're not diving in. We just got a little cup. We're just scooping our little water for the day. Happy trees, happy accidents. butterflies in the sky. Or we're going to get out when it moves 50 points. Now, why, or sorry, 40 points, I can't read. So why would I do 100 wide and exit when it moves 40? Any takers? Anybody want to take a gander why I would do that? It's 100 wide, and I'm going to get out when it moves 40. That's pretty much it. You start getting a little bit of gamma's not really an issue in these things, just because they're debits and it's fixed costs and stuff like that. So I mean, you definitely have to pay attention to gamma, but it's not that. The main thing, is that you now have the curve has started to where probably vol is getting crushed, and so vol, if it's going up, vol's getting crushed, and now you're just like, it's turning into a delta thing. If you go down, vol is expanded. Now you're going to be probably 1 to 2 short deltas on this going in. If you modeled this out, you probably start, would be my guess, 1 to 2 short deltas on this if you're using even strikes. So you've got a little bit of delta protection to the downside, but you've also got less, you got more Vega expansion. So it's kind of break even on that side. So yeah, it moves 40. This is a set it and forget it. This is an old man play. We just take 10% and we just get out if it moves 40. That's what we do. And what's interesting about that is it's pretty good win percentage for something like that. I mean, 15 days out, what have we moved today? I mean, have we moved 40 in the SPX today? I don't think so. But again, if we move 20 off the high today and 20 tomorrow, we would exit. So, I mean, what's interesting is in this, your average, you're only in the trade 1 day. And that was one of the things Mr. Sheridan was telling me this morning, that people, when they think longer term strategies, they think it means you're riding it to expiration. You're not riding it to expiration. It very well might just be a 1 or 2 day trade. It's just that it's less risky and less rewarding. That's really what you're trading off for. Less risk, less reward. But again, the win rate's pretty good. So I shared that one. Any questions about that? Can we go on to the next one? Okay. So next one, we're going to look at I say 100 wide here. Yep, this one's actually 100 wide. Perfect. So this one, it's the same concept, except for it's 100 wide each side, and we're exiting on a move of 80. Again, why am I doing that? Because we're not waiting for it to get to the longs. We're not playing that game anymore. We're not young people anymore. We're not riding the edge. We go to bed at 9. We get up at 5. We just do our work. We're drinking green smoothies now. You only smoke cigars when your spouse is not home. You hide them when your spouse gets home. You want me to turn on the 2 hits? Yeah. Oh yeah, this one's great. This is great. Some of these I forgot to do it, and some I forgot I did it on. I knew someone was going to say turn on the 2 hits. And some of these I've tested with 2 hits. I don't know how this will come back as. But One of these I tested with 2 hits and it was very similar, but I had to change some parameters. So again, the idea being there's gold in the hills, but you might have to play around with exit at 80 or exit at 60 or things like that to see how it goes. Bless you, Amy. Pipe tobacco is a different animal. I have enjoyed a pipe before, but I have a bad habit of like chewing on stuff, so my teeth can't handle a pipe at this point. Perfect. Yeah, that one's a loser. Now there's some things with the profit target. I do want to say this with the butterfly. So you say, Troy lied to us, the profit target. Yes and no, I did lie to you. But 2, like I said, a lot of that is you just have to, there's 2 things with the profit target. Understand that it is a punisher, so you're probably going to be somewhere in between. But also, this is what I said at the beginning, I don't know many professional butterfly traders that trade them mechanically in this way. I do want to say, like, there are some trades that are just mechanical. A butterfly is, I think, probably the least mechanical trade you can do. Maybe long straddles too. But that being said, there are a couple parameters you can change to make it a little bit better. But what I'm going to do is save that and send it to you. So you guys should be able to see that in the chat now. Oh yeah, I know what it is. So one of the things you'll want to do when you test these, and I should have saved one for you, but play around with the idea of taking a loss if it moves, or just getting out if it moves, win, lose, or draw, but don't take a profit target. That's another thing that when you get these, you could run them and test them and see, because there are some that do really, really well, particularly low debit ones, if you just let it expire. We're trying to do income trades. So the profit target one is definitely usually a killer, but I want you to be a little bit cognizant of, like, sometimes the profit target is a punisher more than real life is. So it's there for a reason. It's good for us. But with butterflies, it's a little more nuanced than that. But that's good, Stephen. Let's keep going. So now we're going to get into some ones where you are, I don't know where you guys are all from, but from, here in America, just good old, remember Cinderella Man, the movie? He gets on the dole and he returns it once he starts winning fights. We're talking about like patriotism here. And these next couple of trades are for people, because we're older now, we're not shorting the market. That would be bad for America, so we don't short the market. We only go long the market. And these are the trades that we do. We just go long the market. But we're doing it in a really interesting way. So these are a couple different ones I want to show you. First one. They're all kind of the same concept. This one is a far out of the money butterfly. What we're doing is we're selling 2 calls, 5% out, 15 days away. And we're buying a call that's 60 points on top of that, over it, above it, and 50 points below it. Now, before we get into this, why would you do that? Why would you make a broken wing butterfly like that? Why would that be an option? Why would we even think to do that? Any guesses? Directional bias, but it's already directional in the sense that it's already directional in the sense that it's going up, right? It's placed far at 5%. I mean, You're playing the direction. So why would you make it a broken wing? Yeah, but what about skew? That's good, Courtney. What are we doing? What are we doing with it in this way? The long call that's closer to the money is a shorter distance than the long call that's farther out of the money. One of the reasons we would do that is to reduce cost basis. So in this trade, you're already 5%. I mean, you're saying basically the market, I think, this is what's crazy about this trade. I think in the next 2 weeks, the market is going to rally 5%. That's crazy, right? I mean, that's nutsos. So what you're doing is, I think it's going to rally 5%, but I think it's not going to get, I think I'm going to get out long before that. And so I'm willing to risk above 5%, making it a broken wing and therefore making it cheaper than it was if it was equal distance. Does that make sense? Does that make sense at all? So you would, yeah, you reduce cost basis at the expense of, in trade-off for potential risk to the upside. Again, this is interesting though because this is 5% away, right? Now, what's crazy about this is you win 8% of the time. There's no profit target being hit twice because this is just you're letting it go. The only caveat to this is we do use the exact strike offset, because what can happen that far out is, if you've ever noticed, SPX like past 200 points will start going into increments of like 50 or even increments of 100, and so we want to use the exact offset on this from the testing perspective. The other one is we only want to do this when the VIX is at a max of 20. Why would we say that? Because what's interesting is that's kind of counterintuitive to what you would think. I'm going to share this just so you guys can play with it too. Again, you guys will make these better. I know you will, because you're all smarter than me. But why do you think that would be the case? Why do you think this would work in a VIX environment under 20? It is inexpensive cut. That for sure. That is a good reason. I'll let people type here for a minute. That's right. So there's a kind of a rhythm to this. And again, this is why I'm putting these out as mechanical, but I actually think I think these perhaps lend themselves to some discretion. If you look at the winners, if you scroll through the winners here real quick, you'll notice something, just starting from 2019. Does anybody remember 2019? Were you guys trading in 2019? '19 was one of these weird years where if you look at the S&P, it was one of those years where it was just exponential. And vol was just getting the crap beaten out of it. And many people lost their shirt because they said, oh, this is the top. Ah, this is the top. Ah, this is the top. Ah, I'm homeless. I've gone broke. That's how that went. I was one of those people. I did not end up homeless, but that's by grace more than knowledge. So we live in this world, especially in today's world, where we just play, it's just ping-ponging back and forth. And people blame zero-day expirations and whatever. But there are times in the market where it just goes up nonstop. And vol does what vol should do and just gets creamed. And this is playing that, really. You only win a little bit of a time. But those times when it does very, very well. And again, this is a mechanical setup. You could test this for specific situations and for sure do better than this. Not financial advice, just entertainment purposes. So that's one. That's an idea. Just we're patriots here. We go long the market. We don't go short the market ever. So we're playing them. So let's do another one. And one thing you'll notice is that I'm doing these all to the call side, even in the midst of 2018, because I want to. One of the things that I think one of the residents, Mr. Wizzy himself, has shown through time, I think, is that butterflies don't actually do too well. Downside butterflies, they don't do as well as the upside, because that vol expansion sometimes can push the short premium high, just as high, and so you don't get as much bang for the buck with that. So that's another thing we could, might do put calendars for old people, because put calendars work really well towards that side. But I digress. We'll keep going. So this is the second variation of this. And instead of 5%, what I'm doing is 200 points. Some of probably the same wins as before, but it's just a way of visualizing it differently. And this one does have a profit target, and it does require 2 hits of the profit target. So there's a little bit of validity to it. You are basically 15 days out, selling 2 of the 200 point away. You're buying, on top of that, the 275 away, and you are buying a 150 away. Same concept. Average days in trade, 10. What's interesting about this one is you actually get a lot more trades. You actually get a lot more trades in this one. And I think the reason for that is that when you're 5% out, you don't get, like I said, you get those weird kind of situations where the expirations might be like, the strikes might be 50 apart or 100 apart. Whereas if you, at least since 2018, if you're 200 points away, you probably at least have a couple more of like the 10, 15, 20, 25 expirations apart, so strikes apart. But that's a lot of data. That's interesting to me. But this one, that last one's like, okay, cool, 5%. This one, we're doing this 1,200 times and we're winning 46%. That's pretty interesting. In some of the craziest years we've had in the market, right? 2022, which was largely just a down year. 2020, which was a crazy crash. 2018, that had this crazy vol expansion. You're getting some interesting ones. Any questions about that one? I'm going to share it with you. Again, that's why these are a little more dangerous than they seem, because there is more risk if it goes above it. The theory, though, is that you have plenty of time to get out of this if it's 200 points away. If the market goes up 100 points 2 days in a row, you probably know just to get out. Again, use some discretion with these, but they're ideas. Okay, we'll keep going. Now this one's interesting. because again, it's profit target 100% and the validity of requiring 2 price targets. And again, 200, but this one is going to be largely collecting a credit. Most debits, most butterflies debit. This one is largely going to be collecting a credit, because what we're doing is we're selling the 200 points away, we're buying 275 points away, and we're buying 175 points away. So your cost basis is largely nothing in this, right? Does that make sense at all? Have you ever encountered any of these type of trades? I also will warn you that I have lost a crap ton of money with these type of trades before. I haven't got 200 points out. When trying to be cute and getting like 50 points out, you can get wrecked in these. So again, these are old man trades. These are farther out, more time to get out, more time to just take profit. But have you ever put on something like this where the structure, even though it's like a debit-like structure, you're receiving a credit for it? Not I. It's interesting. It's interesting. And again, what's crazy is just you're winning 50% of the time. And part of that in this, the higher win percentage, is because if you look at the trade log, you're actually collecting a small credit for the trade. So you don't need it to get there to profit, right? You don't need it to get there. Now, what's going to happen, though, every once in a while, you're losers. And this is why it's not mechanical in my mind. It's just a good way to start mechanical. You received $1.30 credit, right? $1.30 credit, and you lost $1,000 on that. Why? Because you put it on when it was 3,900. You sold the 4,100, and it blew past that. And it blew past it in such a way that you're still within the tent, but it was past your profit target, because you're not even at that point where an even spread, an even strike allocation, you might have been in the profit target. Because you collected that credit, you don't have much room past those short strikes to be profitable. So again, this one's very interesting to me. I mean, it's two hits at the profit targets on a lot of these trades. That's, there's some validity to this, which is interesting. And again, these are dumb. Like these are, I'm not like sitting here like giving you genius trades. Like, you could make this test 1,000 times better, I promise you. This is like a very basic idea. So that being said, yeah, that's it. Those were the ones that I wanted to show you today. So a couple of set it and forget it's, a couple of American just goes up, America up trades, things like that. I'm not trying to convince you of anything, because I don't need to convince you of anything, but are any of those trades that you think are things that you would be interested in? I'm just intrigued by it. I did not show that last one, so let me do that real quick. I didn't do a portfolio. I didn't. I can, but didn't for this one. Yeah, I'm with you, Castus. These are not like my favorites. Now, I will say this though. My dream would be to one day get to an environment where you could go even farther, because Like that first test where you're getting out at minimal movement and you're getting out minimal profit, man, those are like, if you were ever going to bot, not 0-day, that type of stuff to me is just gold. Because I mean, it's so low risk, you know, like it's a small debit and you've got time to get out. And to me, that just feels wonderful because I am turning into an old man. This was more just a psychological thing for me because I'll be 40 this year. So the green juice is coming my way and things like that. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys coming out today